Welcome to the committee, Mr. Secretary, and I want to just agree with one of my colleagues that serving as United States Attorney is probably the best job there is, next to serving as State Attorney General. I want to commend you for the extraordinary work you've done in your present position, and also your exemplary record of public service in many other positions in the federal government. And thank you for emphasizing at the very outset of your testimony the increasing threat of ISIS-inspired and supported terrorism around the world, including the threat in this country in public places and events as we approach the July 4th weekend, the need for caution in many of our communities, and heightened vigilance and greater resources to agencies like yours that protect us in the face of that threat. And I note with great regret that the administration released its proposed budget for 2017, and it slashes funding for many transportation security-related programs, all too often in this place, as well as in the administration. We fail to match rhetoric with resources. And I think that, for example, the reductions in the Transit Security Grant Program, the Urban Area Security Initiative, the State Homeland Security Program, these programs are probably unknown to most Americans, but they are vital to protecting our homeland. And I want to thank you also for supporting the initiative that Senators Markey and Durbin and I have begun to try to persuade more airlines to reduce or eliminate their fees for checking baggage, which would reduce the burden on TSA and thereby enable us to devote more resources to the work of TSA that's so vital. And I want to focus for the moment on priorities and practices. My experience is that there is all too often a failure to follow the stated priorities and practices that are articulated at the highest levels. The administration has said that it wants to deport felons, not families, but the actual enforcement record often belies that statement. All too commonly, the stated priorities are inconsistent with the actual practices, and enforcement of those priorities and practices all too often simply stinks. I know that's a non-judicial term, and I apply it to the area that is most familiar to me because of personal experience in our state with a violent convicted felon who should have been deported, was convicted of attempted murder, was permitted to remain in our state by ICE, and then brutally murdered a 25-year-old woman named Casey Chadwick. ICE repeatedly declined to investigate until I insisted, equally repeatedly, that it do so, and the IG report that recently was completed shows an abject failure of enforcement. I think that's the only way to term it. Repeated failings to deport the killer of Casey Chadwick before she was murdered. Jean Jacques had been convicted of attempted murder and was sought to be reported, but ICE never overcame the resistance and refusal of Haiti to take him back. I recognize that ICE can't alone overcome that resistance or refusal, but the report shows that ICE failed to seek the proper documents from the family or from Jean Jacques himself, failed to enlist or elevate this issue with the Department of State, failed even to go to the Haitian consulate in Miami to seek its cooperation. In short, failed to deport a violent convicted felon illegally in this country. I've asked ICE how many others are there that are in the same position, and it has been unable to give me a number. So I would like to ask your commitment that you will join us in seeking specific changes in State Department policy that will sanction those countries that refuse or resist taking back their nationals here illegally after they commit crimes and continue to pose a danger to our nation.
Yes, you have that commitment. In fact, we've been working on that. I have been working on that. I have had conversations myself directly with my foreign counterparts about the repatriation of those who have been ordered removed from our country. Senator, in general, in response to my new priorities, an increasing percentage of those in immigration detention today, something like 99.4%, fit our immigration priorities, fit our priorities for removal. An increasing percentage of those who are deported are within our priorities for removal. I have read the IG report that you refer to. We were constrained by the Zabidas decision, which, as you know, says after 6 months, if there is no clear indication that the country to whom he should be sent back is going to take him back, we have very limited authority to keep that person in immigration detention. I'm aware of the efforts to get Haiti to take him back. I've read the IG report, and I agree that we need to continue to pressure countries to take people back when they're ordered deported.
Well, we have points of leverage that we can use. It doesn't have to rely simply on our persuasive power. We can deny visas, we can suspend aid, and I'm asking for more than just your contacting your counterparts. And when I say you, I don't mean you personally, I mean the federal government, the administration, people in positions of authority who can say to these countries, we are simply not going to permit you to deny that this person belongs back in your country because he or she is a danger to our country and is here illegally, has been convicted of a crime, a violent crime. I recognize that 99% may fall in a different category, but that 1% constituted Casey Chadwick's murder. And that 25-year-old woman is not alive today. And I've met with her family, and I've seen that heartbreak. And that's a failure of law enforcement that both of us regret. So I hope that the second part of that IG report will be done as quickly as possible. It's still outstanding. The first part has been done and released. The second part still is underway. And I welcome your commitment and look forward to working with you.
Senator, I'm sure none of this will be satisfactory to the Chadwick family, but as you know, there are a host of considerations that go into the relationship we have with a number of countries, including some very, very big populated countries. We have, over the last 2 years, stepped up our efforts and, frankly, our pressure on a number of these countries. We've entered into MOUs to take back more of their people, but very clearly this is a work in progress, and at some point I'm going to advocate that we use the ultimate sanction we have available to us, which is to deny visas to these countries if we don't see more progress.
I'm way over my time, and I apologize, Mr. Chairman, but I hope that point is now not at some indefinite point in the future, because neither you nor I want to look other families in the eye and express our regret again. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.